Florida's warm, wet climate makes it an ideal habitat for all kinds of reptiles and amphibians. Frogs and toads especially find plenty of ideal habitats in the state, from the sandy marshes and cypress swamps to the thousands of lakes and ponds across the state. While not very big, frogs and toads play vital roles in their ecosystems as both predators and prey. In this article, we'll go over native species in Florida, a couple of invasive ones and their impact, as well as answer some common frog questions. Frogs and toads are both amphibians, look very similar, and can show up in the same places sometimes. It's easy to confuse the two, especially since we sometimes use the two words interchangeably in conversation. While similar, frogs and toads are distinctive animals and can be distinguished by some key characteristics. Frogs are water-dwelling animals, spending most of their time in and around bodies of water. They usually have slick, smooth skin and legs longer than their head and body combined. The body of a frog usually looks trimmed and athletic, with a pointed head and nose, and a more elongated shape. Toads don't live in the water, instead favoring drier areas and burrows. They usually have rough, bumpy skin and shorter legs more suited to crawling than hopping. The body of a toad is squat, chunky, and compacted. Their heads and mouths are more rounded and flatter. American bullfrogs are the largest frog species native to North America. They grow up to 8 inches 20 centimeter in body length and have a large external eardrum beneath their eyes. While they do have a deep call, frightened ones can sometimes sound like a meowing cat. Bullfrogs have a massive range across North America, but are native within the state of Florida. They typically prefer slow-moving bodies of water, from ponds and lakes to streams and canals. Bullfrogs feed on young birds, crayfish, insects, and other frogs. The barking tree frog is one of the largest tree frogs in the country. They tend to vary from dark brown to a pale yellow, but always have some form of green coloring. Barking tree frogs can grow to have a body length of around 2 inches, 6.3 centimeter. Most often, barking tree frogs prefer sandy pine forests and swamps. When it gets too cold or dry, they tend to go into an inactive state within burrows or under tree roots. Most of their diet is made up of larvae, insects, and worms, but they will occasionally eat other frogs. Western bird-voiced tree frogs are identified by their gray backs, black flecked throat, and dark bar patterns. A typical adult will reach a body length of around 1/3 inch, 4.4 centimeter. They usually sit on plants above the water and let out a call that sounds like a bird's call. Native to the panhandle of Florida, these tree frogs are most often found in the wet areas of swamps, streams, and wetlands. The color palette of bird-voiced tree frogs can change depending on the acidity and temperature of their home waters. Their diets consist of worms, insects, and smaller frogs. Carpenter frogs are only found in Baker and Columbia counties in Florida, in swamps bordering Georgia's Ocefenokee Swamp. They typically have greenish-brown bodies, bronze stripes down the back and sides, and a yellow underside. Most adults reach an average body length of around 2½ inches, 6.3 centimeter. Acidic cypress swamps are the favorite habitat of carpenter frogs. Their call can sound like someone hammering on a wood plank, giving them their name. Most of a carpenter frog's diet consists of aquatic insects, crayfish, and spiders. Cope's gray tree frogs can blend into their surroundings, changing their colors to green, white, or brown. Most will be two-toned, with a dark gray patch near the center of the body. The best way to distinguish them from other tree frogs is the bright orange or yellow on their inner thighs. Gray tree frogs can be found in any wet environment in Florida, from open area parks to cypress swamps. Adults reach an average length of around 2 inches 5 centimeter. Most of their diet consists of small insects such as plant lice, mites, and other insects, but snails and slugs are also on their menu. The best way to identify an eastern narrow-mouthed toad is its multicolored belly. Their dark backs have lighter stripes on them, and they can almost look a silvery blue in the right lighting. Most adults reach a body length of around an inch, 2.5 centimeter. Narrow-mouthed toads love structure, especially near water. They tend to be found under logs that were felled outside of the water most often. The call of a narrow-mouth resembles the bleating of a sheep. Most of their diet consists of ants and termites, with very few other options. Bog frogs have dark backs, black undersides, and yellow throats. In Florida, this species is rare, occurring only in a few acidic streams in Walton, Santa Rosa, and Okaloosa counties. Its rarity has earned its special protection status by the state. An adult bog frog will almost always have a body length under 2 inches 5 centimeter. They have two distinct calls that change by the season. One that sounds like a clucking hen, and another that sounds like chuckling. Small invertebrates and ants make up a bog frog's diet. The Florida chorus frog can be found through most of the state, but is rather secretive and difficult to encounter. They tend to vary in color according to the temperature. Darker gray when cold and lighter gray when warm. Adult chorus frogs reach a maximum body length of around 1/4 inch 3 centimeter. The call of a chorus frog is likened to running a fingernail over the prongs of a comb. They tend to hide at the base of grass clumps in flooded fields and marshes, with only the head out of the water. Most of a chorus frog's diet will consist of aquatic insects and invertebrates. Gopher frogs have dusky gray backs with plenty of dark spots, cream undersides, and bronze stripes running along their back ridges. They get their name from the gopher tortoise and are most often found inside or near the tortoise's burrows. An adult gopher frog can reach a body length of around 3 inches, 7.6 centimeter. Their diet consists of worms, spiders, beetles, cockroaches, and other frogs and toads. Fowler's toads are native to the Florida Panhandle region. They tend to prefer temporarily wet areas and are common in backyards, ditches, and sandy marshes. Most will have a creamy white stripe down their back and multiple warts that are situated inside skin spots. An adult Fowler's toad can range in body length from 2 to 3 inches, 5 to 7.6 centimeter. Males are smaller than females and will usually have a black throat. Insects and insect larvae make up the bulk of the toad's diet.